Hey, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and share, and hit that notification bell. Thank you. Have a wonderful day. Hope you enjoy the video. Good morning. Today is going to be question and answers. The first question a lot of people asked me was, why did I get a colonoscopy in the first place? Well, I went to my GYN and she told me that because I had turned 50, that it was standard at that time to get a colonoscopy. So my biggest concern at that time was taking that big jug of medicine, that Clinpick. So she gave me a simpler version, which was great. It was just the 2 bottles. So I took the Clinpick, had no worries, not a thought in the world. Just knew that, I was going to have to fast the day before and then go get a colonoscopy and then return back to work. All was going to be good. At least that's what I thought. So that was the reason that I got a colonoscopy. During that colonoscopy procedure, that's when I found out that I actually had colon cancer. So if you're 50, 45 is now the new age. Please go get a colonoscopy. I didn't have any type of symptoms, any signs, anything that would make me just automatically want to go get myself checked. It was just a standard colonoscopy. At that point, I had to get a biopsies to see what stage I was in. I had a very good doctor that did the colonoscopy, and basically right after the procedure, he told me that it was definitely cancer. He didn't know at that time what stage it was, and once the pathology report come back, then we would know. A couple of days later, pathology report comes back, and then we had to go get an MRI just to make sure it hadn't went to any other locations in my body, like your liver or your kidneys, your lungs. So got that about 3 or 4 days later. And once those results came back, then I had to see the doctor that did the colonoscopy again. And we talked about having a surgery to remove the cancer, to remove the tumor. So went to his office and he gave me some recommendations of his doctor, and I asked him about other recommendations that some of my family members had given me, as well as some information that I had researched myself about different facilities and what was his recommendation. One of the questions that did concern me was faith-based. I wanted to know if the surgeon was a Christian. That was my personal choice and my personal experience. I know that you don't always get that option to know if it's going to be a faith-based surgeon or whatever, but it was important to me. All right, choosing a surgeon. Had a couple of choices. The first option that I had, that surgeon was not going to be available till months later. I wanted to get the cancer removed, and so the second option was the person that actually the first option trained. So I was okay with that. And of course, I asked the same question: is he a Christian? Because that was important to me. And so we did a consult with the doctor, and it was awesome. The consult was great. He was very thorough. He was very detailed. He told me the risk. He told me everything that I didn't leave there without any questions asked. He told me about diet and exercises. He gave me some airlift for me to try to strengthen my lungs. Even though I saw the surgeon on the 14th and I was going to have the surgery on the 16th, which is 2 days later, he still gave me tools to try to speed it along. Basically one of his recommendations was to cut meat out my diet, and especially red meat. And I have been told that it has been scientifically proven that red meat can cause colon cancer. As well as other things, diet, exercise, several things can cause it, but that is one of the things that can cause it. So, okay, now it's time to have surgery. Everything is going pretty quick because remember, I had my colonoscopy on September the 30th. So everything is going quick. Now it's October the 14th. I'm in with the surgeon. I'm, scheduled to have my surgery. And, I am pretty terrified. But I'm terrified, and I'm also kind of numb, and I'm just got a lot of thoughts in my mind, got a lot of thoughts going through my head, a lot of this is unbelievable thoughts. I just was scared, Naturally, I just had some fears that I had to work through. I was praying, and I was trying to get those human fears to dissolve and just keep them faith-based and trusting and believing. But honestly, I had some fears. All right, so I had my surgery on 10/16 of 2020. And I had what they called a robotics colon resection surgery. I did not research what a robotic colon resection surgery was, and I'm glad that I didn't, because I think I would have been terrified to see all of those prongs going in. So my little grandbaby was asking me, Jimma, what did they do? What did they do? Let me see. And I couldn't really explain it, so I Googled someone having a colon resection surgery, and I sent them the pictures, and I also saved the pictures for myself too. And I was just amazed at the type of surgery that I had just endured. And I thank God that I didn't look into it even further, because that would have made me even more nervous. But I had the surgery. The doctor prayed for me before I went into surgery, and that just really comforted me. My family was praying. My spouse was praying. My children, everybody just was rooting for me and supporting me. And I was fortunate to be able to have my spouse during this COVID time, to be able to be at the hospital with me. And plus, my son is a nurse, so he works at the hospital that I had my surgery. So I had a bunch of support, and it made everything a lot easier. I was in a lot of pain, but that's normal when you have surgery. It was a 5-prong robotic surgery, and the recovery period, that's another story. It was pretty rough. I mean, I couldn't even hardly cough, and I couldn't hardly, didn't want to sneeze, didn't want to breathe. I couldn't lay flat. I couldn't lay sideways. I pretty much slept in a recliner chair, what little sleep I did get, for several weeks. It was pretty rough. All right, next question, chemotherapy. All right, so after we had the surgery to consult back with the doctor, he basically said that, he removed it, but because of the way cancer works, sometimes you have some little cowboy cells floating around, and so he recommended chemo. His exact words was, if it was him or his mother, he would definitely do chemo. So not really knowledgeable of chemo, really didn't know too many people who actually had chemo, and never have been around anybody who actually had chemo and knew what they went through, or just how it was. I just heard the word, but I never knew in detail what chemo. And just also keep in mind, everybody is different. Everybody take chemo different. Everybody's body is different. It's just different for everybody. And some of the symptoms are the same. So a lot of people that reached out to me, a lot of people recommended people for me to talk to. They gave me different tips, different tools. The nurses at the Tennessee oncologist gave me different tools. There's a great resource center upstairs. They have different tools, because I was kind of like not knowledgeable of chemo, what types of chemo I was going to have to take, or what the side effects was. So I had a whole bunch of questions. I had a whole bunch of questions for my doctor. I would literally write the questions down. Any symptoms that I had, I would write it down. So the same surgeon that did my colon resection surgery did my port. That he did the surgery for the port. You can kind of see the wires in my neck, and it goes to my chest. I'm going today actually to have my 5th chemo treatment in a few minutes actually. So I'm trying to do this little video for you guys before I go into the surgery, because usually chemo makes me very sick, and I be down for several days, and talking with that chemo taste or chemo phlegm, or just the side effects, the nausea, the vomiting, it just makes it hard for me to talk, and it takes a lot of your energy out. And so I'm trying to do this really quick before I have to go. All right, how was my first day of chemo? First day of chemo, I was scared. I was nervous. And I guess it was obvious that I was nervous, because in the waiting room, it was a nice lady named Sarah that I didn't know, never seen her again since then. And she walked up to me and she asked me, was this my first day? And I was like, yeah. And she got a 4-leaf clover and she just gave it to me. And she said, just put this somewhere safe. And I'm telling you, it looked like it was probably about 25, 30 years old. And she said, I'm going to pray for you. And she told me about the type of chemo and cancers that she takes. She told me to drink pickle juice or eat pickles before you have chemo. And she said it kind of helps with the nausea and all that. So I knew that God was with me, because every turn that I did with this procedure, from the colonoscopy all the way to the surgery, to everything, I had the world praying for me. I had a group of family friends and their friends and family, etc., praying for me. So I had a whole bunch of drawing strength. When I didn't have the strength, I was drawing strength from everybody else. And I mean, strangers near and far, even if I had to call or somebody called me to make an appointment, they asked me, is it okay if I pray with you? Is it okay if I ask my church to pray with you? And these were just strangers that I never met. So I knew that God was with me every step of the way. So, chemo is hard. The first day, it was hard. I was nervous. Once it started getting into my system, that's when things started changing. I think with my second chemo treatment, that's when I started having some types of allergic reactions to one of the medications. And, it's just been a big journey for me. But I'm fighting. And like I said, this is treatment number 5 today. And I'm going to take this treatment. Then I have 4 more to go. And when I get down to that last treatment, I'm going to be celebrating, because I'm happy now that have made it this far. And I just thank God, and I appreciate y'all listening. And, it's just a journey. And if there's anybody that's going through this same journey or similar journey, just keep the faith. Whatever your faith base is, if you have your group with you, you draw strength from other people. Allow people to support you in any way that they choose to, because you're going to need the support. Because you have mental, physical, all type of different emotions that you're dealing with, and you need the encouragement, and sometimes when you ain't able to speak, when you're just too sick to even talk, your mind start thinking about stuff, and you can just think about how good God is, and how people have really tried to be there for you to support you. I get cards and flowers and letters and just monetary gifts. All kind of people just been so kind throughout this process. At least every week there's a card in the mail, and you guys just don't know how much that means to me. I appreciate it. My family have been phenomenal. If I call them and say, hey, will you make me some pinto beans because I need that iron in my system or whatever, it's like Johnny on the spot. It ain't no question asked. It's like when you want it. That's the only question that may be asked. My family has just been awesome to me, and my spouse have been just phenomenal, and I appreciate and love you all.